Why did you join? Like, what made you want to join the war?
I joined the Army, one, I grew up in a military family.
Yeah.
I did go to college for a year, and then I was supporting myself as far as school, so I joined the reserves. And then ran out of money for school, and I didn't really want to go back home, so I went fully active. And my initial goal was to do only 4 years, get money for college, and get out. That didn't happen.
What happened?
I spent 22 years in the Army, but I earned 3 college degrees.
So it was like more than you expected?
Life situations came, when it came time for me to re-enlist or get out and stuff, and weighing the pros and cons. And once you get to about the halfway point,
Exactly want to be there.
well, no, I didn't exactly want to say throw it all away, because you don't get a retirement paycheck unless you do all up to 20. So, and my dad retired from the military, so I had from first-hand experience, the benefits that he got. So I stayed in, good and bad, indifferent. I collect a retirement paycheck. I do collect disability. I'm not as likely to see somebody coming back from a combat, although I did spend time in combat. I didn't lose any limbs, but I have some problems.
How was your first day in combat?
My first day in combat, I could actually say when we were getting off the plane, the humidity was so thick you could have cut it with a butter knife. That's all we all were thinking. Because I was stationed in Colorado at the time, and we left in October. And it's fairly cold sometimes, to Saudi Arabia, where it was 110 degrees by 10 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, that was my first day. Other than that, out there in what we call the box or the sandfield area, I was with a medical unit. So in some aspects, I was fortunate enough that I didn't per se had to be on the front lines, which women aren't allowed on the front lines, as they say, but front lines move.
Yeah.
But I knew what was going on because of all the medical supplies that had to be pushed forward and the troops that were coming back, because our unit was responsible for maintaining, which is it's a 72-hour turnover. We stitch them up enough that they can live, and then we send them to the hospitals. And if they can be stitched up and go back out, we do that. But it's like that 72-hour. That's all we would have. But I knew what was going on with the reports, and that was my responsibility, was the reports on the radios.
Right.
They came in and stuff, so I didn't have to see it, but I did see some.
And how was that? Like, was it like weird looking?
No, believe it or not, for me, it's not. I was going to college to be a nurse, and I already had worked in hospitals, so seeing the blood and the gory and bedpans and stuff.
Are you expecting?
Yeah, it's second nature to me. Even today, if I come upon an accident or something, I will stop, and it just goes into second nature to render help, render aid. You go through your triage, as we call it. And even though I'm not a medic, I was a radio person. I was a computer person. It's just, that was instilled into us. So no, I didn't get grossed out by anything.
Do you consider yourself a hero? Like, what's your definition of like a hero?
Anybody can be a hero in anybody else's eyes. I don't call myself a hero. No. Was I part of a team that saved lives? Yes. Fought for peace? Yes. It's like a wheel, and each one of us are spokes on that wheel. I'm only a spoke. I may be that little plastic piece people like to put on the spokes, that moves up and down. But me as an individual hero, no. No. If somebody wants to call me a hero, that's fine. But I can't call myself a hero, no.
So you got the awards to prove it, though.
Awards are one thing, it's for recognition. Some people have more awards than I do. Some people have less awards than I do. Awards just means that it's been put down on paper for your achievements. Does it directly reflect your achievements? Maybe not, because some missions that we did and I did, we can't be recognized for. We know we did them. We knew who our team was. But it is nice if somebody wants to compare, like cars to cars. My awards are more important than yours. But to me,
What was your overall opinion on the war?
which one?
You did the Gulf War, right?
Yes.
And did you attend any other wars? You attended more?
No, I tried to go to Afghanistan and Iraq, and because of my specialty and my job, I was sent back to Korea for my second tour. And even though I tried to go again before I retired, it was at a time where I wasn't in a unit that was going. I was in a training unit where I was an instructor, and sending soldiers over there to instruct the civilian populations. It wasn't too kindly receptive of a female trying to teach them, and that's because of their culture. And I respect that, But in doing so, I would have liked to have gone instead of one or two of the other guys because, they had kids. I don't have any kids. They have this and that, Not saying, if something was to happen to me, nobody would care. There's plenty of people that would care. But in the aspect, I wasn't leaving anything behind that I was responsible for.
So, what was your relatives opinion on you going, to the military?
Well, my dad was more like it's about time. You have to understand, I'm oldest of 5 kids, and we all went military, but I'm the only one to retire. Yeah. Dad, people used to say to my dad, hey, what's up with this Curly, which is my dad's nickname. Everybody's gone Army, and he was in the Navy. He goes, look, this is my philosophy. It's a volunteer. They all raised their hand. They knew what you were getting into. And they're all out of my house but one. And she can't go. And that was my stepmom. She was in the Army Nurse Corps. So when the Gulf War broke out, all of us were involved in it, except for one sibling. He wasn't. He had just gotten out of the service, and he was severely injured back stateside, so calling him back up wouldn't have served any purpose.
Right.
But the rest of us, my stepsister, she was over there with us. My stepbrother was over there. My other brother was over there, and we would joke with Dad whenever we could call home and say, just let us know when you get called back up, Dad, because he worked on nuclear subs.
Oh.
So at that point, we knew if he got called back up, we could just what's called kiss and tuck. It was done. Just let us know, Dad. Give us a warning. But so as far as my relatives, they were in for it. Now I do have a relative that was a retired command sergeant major, and he fought in the Korean War, the Vietnam War, World War II. He wasn't too keen on it, but it comes from a different era. It's like my grandpa. He was drafted, and when he found out I was in the military and I had gone to the Gulf War, he literally looked at me and said, that's no place for a woman, what are you doing, And he had a very verbal negative opinion about it. And I respected that. And to the point where I said, Grandma, I'm going up to Grace's, and I'll see you later, with all due respect. This is his home. I'm not going to argue with him in his home and try to convince him. Now, keep in mind, this is a guy that paid cash for everything. He was a farmer's boy. They didn't have indoor plumbing until late 70s, and that's because the house burnt down, and they had to get a double wide. So it comes with the cultures. You got to understand and respect. Don't have to agree with it. It's like the orders that were given by the president. We don't have to agree with them, but we rose our hand and said, I will defend the Constitution of the United States.
Right.
So, what was your rank?
I was a staff sergeant in E6, that's the abbreviation for it, SSG. That's what I retired as.
A sergeant is a pretty high rank, right?
Staff sergeant's like the middle rank of the enlisted side of the house. Why I didn't get promoted has baffled many people, my peers, my superiors and stuff. And when I got back to Fort Gordon to be an instructor with everything that was going on in the military and then in my personal life, they were like, because Signal Corps is my branch is who I belong to, and they're like, why didn't you get promoted? And my famous saying is, well, you tell me and we'll both know, because I don't know. There's a reason for it, but it came a time where I said, they're like, well, you'll get selected on the next promotion. And I'm like, for what I have to serve for that, which was, even if you get selected, you're not holding that rank until you get pinned. And once you get pinned, you owe the military 3 years. Well, 3 more years, yes, I'd have an increase of pay for retirement, but it only equaled out to be, say, $50 more a month. Is $50 more a month of my retirement worth 3, possibly 4 more years? No, not at that point, I said, I respect it, but now I'm gone. Plus, my dad became severely ill, and I asked my dad to wait till I retired, and he passed away 6 days after I retired. So, it was a turning point. I'm grateful for it.
How was your college experience?
I was one of the lucky few, because I had started college beforehand. And so I was able to complete my associates while I was stationed in Germany. I'm a Terrapin alumni, which is University of Maryland, but I graduated in the European division, just with general ed. I was able to go get my bachelor's in human services, which deals with people maybe in the medical care or in the administration areas and stuff like things. And the university I graduated from was Upper Iowa University, even though I was stationed in Kansas. I didn't get to go to the school until many, many years later to see what it was. And then I was an instructor at the MP Corps Military Police Corps, which is what this plaque is from, as my going away gift. And I had a superior literally write me a counseling statement saying, you're not showing progression on your civilian education. And I'm like, I have a bachelor's. Most people didn't. I said, fine. I went and got my master's and in human resource development and management, which people call HR. And, that experience was fun. In many aspects, and that's from Webster University. But do I work that, now that I'm retired? Not directly. That was a problem when I got out. Was I had people, I'd go for interviews and stuff, and they go, oh, you have no experience. And I'm like, okay, it's not that I'm a vet, but HR, you work with people, you solve problems, you manage things, you, set up training for things. Well, what was I doing for 22 years in the military? Yeah, which maybe then it took me onto the path that I am now. I am a chapter coordinator for a nonprofit called Project Linus. We make comfort blanket for children that have been through a traumatic situation and are terminally ill. I'm very active in the American Legion Post 74. And I work part-time at Joann Fabrics, which, kind of helps with the discount, that I can get for the fabric to make clothes and fleece. But it's also a nice environment where if I need to go do something with the American Legion, I'm not having to worry about another employee